Hey, this is Mr. Joe Sanchez. They call me on Twitter is Chat. What is my Twitter handle? I don't even know what my Twitter handle is. That's sad. I think it's Crypto Chat Joe. That's right, Crypto Chat Joe on Twitter. We're here today with Clayton Moore and Jen. I don't have your last name with me right now, but they're Netcents. And Clayton is the CEO of Netcents. And Jen, what is your title? The CMO?
Yes.
CMO of Netcents. And we're going to be talking about Netcents today. And one of the biggest things that I love about Netcents is their first line on their website. And it's all about being a rebel without a cause, an attitude, express a desire to disrupt the world, dominating payment systems. So why don't you tell me about yourself, Clayton?
So I've been in the payment industry for probably about 20 years. I started Netcents around 2006. I've been involved in cryptocurrency right from, when Bitcoin was about $11.
Wow.
I really like the technology. I've known the technology right back into the gaming days when poker was really big. We were involved in a lot of the gaming sites and introducing payment systems at that time, and we were involved with Netcents in the gaming systems, but unfortunately, because of legislation at that time, we decided to pivot and move into other directions. But understanding the technology and seeing where the technology was going, and seeing Amazon and Microsoft a couple of years ago announced that they were going to get involved with Bitcoin, and they started to play around with the cryptocurrency a little bit. That's when I started to realize what was happening and having an understanding of how complicated the traditional payment processing process was behind the scenes for a lot of the processing companies that exist in the marketplace today. And just understanding that digital currency just makes sense, cryptocurrency makes sense. It streamlines the entire process for merchants, and it also makes it a lot easier for the users as well. So I regrouped the team and brought everybody together and said, listen, this is something that I think we should get on. And Mehdi and his team have done an amazing job building the system that we have today and completing and the transactional hub that Netcents is today, and that transactional hub for cryptocurrency purchasing. But when we were developing it and having a history with the traditional payment processing side, we were always considering and understanding that if this is going to be something that's going to be accepted, it's not going to be user facing at the front end, it's going to be merchants. And it was really working with the merchants, and it would come from merchants adopting and making sure that, Bitcoin, I love Bitcoin for what it is. I love Bitcoin for what it wants to be. None of us would be here today if it wasn't for Bitcoin. This just is my opinion. The medium is just not there for transactional purchasing online. So that was one of the biggest challenges. But, the cryptocurrency world, it was a lot of buzz and a lot of people started hearing about this cryptocurrency. Merchants, my biggest thing was Visa and MasterCard, and working with Visa, MasterCard, and seeing a lot of the merchants that are out there today, how difficult Visa, MasterCard has made it for some of these merchants. Their tolerance level for disputes and chargebacks is it's non-existent anymore. So it really makes it difficult for smaller to medium-sized business to even, adopt Visa, MasterCard. They're starting to go towards a lot of companies like PayPal. But what we started to see in the market was an interesting trend where merchants were coming out and they're saying, hey, listen, we are now looking for an alternative payments source, and cryptocurrency is here. However, that being said, there was just no solidified solution between the user and the merchant. At the time, you could take Bitcoin from one wallet to another wallet, but what it really come down to and what we really focused on, and I think that's what makes us the success that we are today and why we're being so well received, is the settlement portion. It comes down to settlements on the merchant side. And with the recent announcement that we just announced, we've always had this settlement process. We've always taken it into consideration, the settlement process, and that's really what it's been focusing on in completing that entire ecosystem of putting the e-wallet together as well as the settlement. And we even have the exchange component built in with a little bit of an FX thing happening behind the scene that I won't give away everything that's there. But now, since yesterday with the instant settlements, it's a game changer. And it's a game changer in such a way that it really validates the entire cryptocurrency space. It validates the top currencies as transactional currencies. because the merchants, when they're selling a product online, they're selling a product for $50. They don't care if they are getting a currency that might be worth $1,000 tomorrow. They want that $50. And that's what it really came down to. So the trend that I'm seeing in the marketplace, I love the trend. I love the exchanges that are coming up. I love how the millennials are, they're kind of pushing forward on this. We're starting to see that the change from the stocks to the investment side into cryptocurrencies, which is great. But now people are saying, okay, I've heard people call it monopoly money. I've heard people call it funny money. I've heard people call it so many different things, because other than transact within an exchange and trade it back and forth between different currencies, you really couldn't do anything with it. Well, now with Netcents, with the settlements, and that's why I say it validates that entire 270 to $300 billion
I think it's
market
330
there.
today now.
330. So the fluctuation in the market, just right there, just that fluctuation, that volatility, is reason again for that implementation of the instant settlements. And the instant settlements is not just on the technology side; it really is on the process side. And having been in this space, we've built relationships with a lot of the exchanges, a lot of the financial institutions. That gives us that secret sauce behind the scenes. And I know people are, we know what this is all about and we know how this is working, but really when it comes down to it, there's some special things that take place in the back to make this all work seamlessly. And so far it's been a success with the merchants that we have up and running. We have a partner, a very successful partner relationship with a group called Alliant. Alliant has over 7,000 merchants. So, coming out of the gates with the ability to introduce the system and do the white label with Alliant has really helped get the message out there for Netcents. And it's just really starting to take traction and really starting to grow. And with the merchants that we have on board, we're processing in the crypto world, we're processing transactions every 5 minutes right now. And that number is increasing. So the success rate of it, the demand is there. Demand is there for merchants.
Oh, definitely.
When Visa and MasterCard say, you know what, we're going to take this market and, we make so much money that we're not going to worry about this. Well, that's when they start to push people, to look at alternative currencies and alternative ways to making purchases and things like that online.
No, definitely. And could you break down what you were saying about the instant payment, what was the word you were just using?
Instant settlements.
The instant settlements, could you break that down so like somebody that has no idea about what you're talking about, that little piece?
Okay, so basically what the instant settlements does is when somebody's going online and they're making a payment or making a purchase, it's at the merchant side, it's within the back of the settlement process. So when we're saying instant settlement, we're validating and setting the price and locking the price in at the time of transaction.
So is it only Bitcoin or is it any currency right now?
Right now in our gateway, it's Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. And then we have our own coin, NCCO, that we're working on. We've got a few things that we're tweaking on the NCCO coin. We've worked with some, like I said, we worked with some of the merchants and we've talked to them and we've come back a little bit on the drawing board and we've got some serious, really big advancements when it comes to the coin, bigger than when we had launched the coin off. So, and again, it's that transactional coin. I really like Litecoin. I do like Litecoin, and I think Litecoin is going to be one of the superior coins when it comes to transacting online. And not just because it's a coin that we accept within our payments. They really focused it on being a transactional currency. And that's what this is really all about. As much as we have the instant settlements, we really have to go back to Netcents and our overall business and being that transactional hub for cryptocurrency. So coming from the business side of it, we know we're a publicly traded company and we've got the investors, so we've got shareholders. It's always considering, and I always look back at the .com era. Some of these companies at the .com era, like Netscape, they necessarily were the first ones in there, but they weren't the last ones out when we saw the Amazons and Googles and things like that. Taking that into consideration and looking at the longevity side of it, that's why we specifically built the transactional hub and the gateway that we have the way we have. Because Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, Bitcoin may not be the current, or may not be around, and we're starting to see merchants kind of go towards other currencies that are available. So, but we built the gateway in such a way that if there's a new currency that comes out eventually down the road, and it's got a big following, and it's a transactional hub, it's easier for us to adopt it, and then we become that distribution channel for the currencies, and we still collect our transaction fees. So whatever currency really is within our gateway doesn't really matter. If the users are there and the users are using it, we collect and we fulfill and satisfy our business revenue needs for sure.
Well, I think for a worldwide adoption of it, it is your process. What you're doing right now is helping cryptos get out there to be more adopted and more mainstream, because that's the biggest aspect. How do we use the coin?
Absolutely.
And a lot, even with the ICOs that are raising money, what is their use case?
Right.
How are they adopting, how is their crypto, their token is going to be used within their ecosystem? But now I've invested into them. I bought tokens. How do I take my tokens and turn them into fiat or into using it with a provider that I can go put it on a card? There's a lot of people that are trying to offer debit cards with them, but I really like Netcents. I really like what you've shown, what you're talking about. I love the brand new site you guys have.
Thank you.
I've been going through it. It's awesome. It's a lot of information. It's good for people. Go ahead.
Sorry, and I really have to point out with the website and everything, it was really one of the tasks that, it turned out, and I really have to thank Jen and the marketing team. And, Jen was one of the people that I really wanted to bring and get involved in the company. And she had her own company prior, and a successful marketing company. And the results that we're seeing with, the design of the website and the introduction of Netcents and how Netcents is being marketed out there really comes down to Jen and her team. And they've done an amazing job just with our brand, but not only our brand, in developing the culture and the voice of Netcents. Then I think that's really key with, what we're doing with cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency has had such a negative rap in the past with Bitcoin and, the dark web and everything that was going on there. There really was ensuring that we, when new people came on or merchants were accepting or wanting to adopt cryptocurrency, and cryptocurrency, for me, it's the worst word, crypto and then currency, I believe anyway, but it is what it is, and that's what we work with. And I think these guys have done an amazing job, and kudos to her and her team for what they've done in softening, what cryptocurrency is, and introducing it and helping introduce it to the masses. And it's being so well received through the voice that they've created. So,
and it really was a team effort. Couldn't have done it without every single person on our marketing team.
No, definitely, and I see the difference. I've been following Netcents for a while. We have a mutual friend, and he told me about Netcents a long time ago. So I've been following, and the deeper that I get into cryptocurrencies and the understanding of the payment gateways and stuff, and that how people are trying to bring crypto to the real world, I guess, and so it's not monopoly money.
For sure.
It's definitely an educational process. And that's my goal with Cryptochats, is to educate as many people about good companies, talk about what their value is and how they get involved. And the best way they can get involved with you, they can buy your coin, right? They can sign up to your platform, buy your coin and hold it or whatever. Sure,
Well, that's it. And again, that gets back to the structure and how we've built Netcents, and we've built it, the entire ecosystem to, not only streamline it for the merchants, but also on the user side. So, it's a broken space right now. And don't get me wrong when I say broken space, because there's a lot of amazing new technology that's coming out and a lot of evolving technology that I support. And I love the crypto space. I love the blockchain space. And I love what's coming from it. And there's a lot of amazing things that are out there. What we've simply done is we've just streamlined the entire ecosystem and staying within who we are, and that's payment processing. So when a user goes online, it's a one-stop shop. You can go online, you can purchase the cryptocurrency, you can trade your cryptocurrency. We've got the exchange mechanism that's built in there. And then also with the NCCO, with our own currency that's specifically built to be a transactional currency for merchants and purchasing online to get away from the volatility. And I don't want to say, I don't use asset back because it's not asset back. It's a 1-for-1 reserve where the funds go into reserve, and then eventually once it starts to grow and when it starts to develop, that reserve can come into play to help assist in the volatility of the pricing. And we've had some really good people, and we've had some banking people behind the scenes that have helped and assist in the formula and things like that. And like I said, we are making some changes to it. And when I say changes, we're making some advancements. So it's overall better for the user and for the merchants. And I think people will really like, and they'll really like what they see when we start to. But our focus is up to this point has been on the transactional hub and the gateway. But we do have the exchange component, and we do have the transactional side. And we want to offer it to as many people and to as many merchants. And also with our white labeling programs, we get into a lot of these companies that, they look at it and say, hey, we love cryptocurrency, but what about us having it as our brand and us introducing it to our partners? And we've been very successful with that, and we love the white labeling. It's we becoming the underlying technology that's out there for so many different marketplaces. So it's working out great for us.
Well, I'm super excited, and I'm grateful for this time that you've given to me, because I know you're a very busy man, traveling and doing everything. But I am grateful, and I'm grateful for you too, Jen. Me and Jen have a lot of conversations, and she's always nice and professional, but she's just a cool chick. I like people that are in the game that are trying to improve. And also the one thing you said, Clayton, was about building culture around your brand. It is so pivotal in these days to have a strong culture around your brand and to build your brand that way, because there's a lot of companies that don't get that, and they won't be here in 5 years,
And that's the truth. And that's why, it took me a couple of years to get Jen to come over to the team, but I knew we worked with her. She started to build the brand with her own agency. And you're absolutely right. It really does come down to the brand and the culture of the company. And I just knew what she could do. And we're starting to see, exactly what it is we've created. And even with the new website, Sarah and Jazz, and Sarah was really, key in designing the website. And, it's amazing. It really, it's different than anything else that's out there. It really highlights, it points out our strong points and, what we are, as what our stronger offers are. And it really brings everything together. So right at the top, from merchants to exchange to the corporation to all of the information. And that was really key. And I will say it was the most challenging thing, I think, that I've ever been involved in bringing this and combining it, and how they did it. It's far beyond my expectations what they did, because there's nothing worse than having to go to an exchange, go to another website, do a transfer. And the way that they brought this all together, I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'm very grateful to the team and the marketing team for what they've done. And we can't forget the tech team. They've worked some really long hours to put everything in place, and the design, and it's really been fantastic, and it's really allowed the team to really gel together. And I think the team is stronger than ever, and it's been really cool for me to watch the process, to see how everybody's come together, from the marketing side, from the technical side, even down to the accounting side, where everybody has an opinion. Everybody discusses, they say what's wrong or what's right or what they feel should take place. And we really collectively, we use that, and together, right down to our shareholders and our supporters, we're always looking to see what they want, what they think is necessary, because really at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Us as a corporation, we can develop and build what we want, but that's no good to anybody. We're developing this for users and, for the merchants. So we really, we put a lot of effort in, and Jen and her team put a lot of effort in to making sure that they're out there and they're listening and seeing and watching what people are talking about so that we can bring that back, because at the end of the day, it really is all about introducing a new platform, a new process, and a new currency for everyday use for everybody. So it has to be the way they want it, not always the way we want it.
And it really is about engaging and responding. We might not love what everyone has to say, but we're going to respond to them and talk to them, because nothing goes perfectly, but every comment, and but we don't respond to all of them, but whether we respond or not, we do take it back and we digest it as a team and go, what can we do better so we don't make mistakes and we continue to evolve. We really are trying to be as transparent as possible and as engaging as possible, and doing it a really different way. If you look at a lot of other companies out there, they delete posts and comments, or they just don't respond to it. And you go to any one of our channels and everyone gets a response.
And that's the thing, like nobody is exempt from the teething process. And that was one of the challenges around Christmas time when, Jen and I were working together, and the Facebook post, and there was a lot of negative Facebook posts because we were just so flooded with phone calls and support tickets, and we're growing and start company. And I'm like, Jen, we got to do something about this. And she's like, no, full transparency all the way. This is the only way to do it, because she's right. There's no company is perfect. And that's one thing I think you're going to see with Netcents. We're going to have our ups and downs like everything. But I mean, this is a new industry. I mean, this is in its infancy stage. And, we're definitely moving forward. We're definitely kind of ahead of the game in certain areas, but we're definitely not exempt from any sort of issues that may come up in the future. But I do believe that the team that we have is a very strong team. And the things that come our way, whether it be technology or anything else, we're definitely positioned very well to, mitigate as much as we possibly can against those risks and ensuring that the continued success of the company.
Well, definitely. And again, I'm grateful, man. I love Netcents, and I definitely believe in what you guys are doing and the transparency. That's one of the things that got me into cryptocurrency and a lot of these startups and stuff, is that, it's built to be peer-to-peer. Right. And so that transparency and having different governance and just creating the different culture around your brand and stuff, you guys got it all. If I was giving you guys A ratings all the way across, I would. But I'm grateful for your time, guys. And I look forward to a future interview and talk about more about your successes, because I see them coming. I see you guys going to be super blessed, and you guys are going to have the biggest year ever in 2018 and 2019.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thanks for having us.
Thank you. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Bye now.